Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I am your host, Ty Christensen. I don't know a single quote for this movie. It's the game. Play to win. I don't know.
What about the guy into the stall? Hey, man, can you give me some toilet paper? Yeah. Help a guy out.
Is that your quote?
I was actually thinking, my quote is, hey, if you didn't jump, I'd have to throw you.
That was what I was just talking to Jordan about.
That was dark.
It's ridiculous. And we've got Jordan Christensen on the pod.
If you're not paying attention, you're going to miss it. I don't remember what he says. Gosh dang it. The guy on the TV, that was so good.
Yeah, That was good. And we've got Cameron Mickle on the pod.
I'm being toyed with by a bunch of depraved children.
And we've got Nick.
There goes $1,000.
That's right, those shoes. She's
shoes.
like, it was $1,000
That
for
one
both
was.
your shoes?
No, that one was. Yeah.
Yes.
Great. That's something I would say.
Exactly.
Yeah, you would.
Exactly. Well, you got the results of your psych test back, and you're denied. Excuse me. Sorry. There's nothing we can do. I love that. I thought that was a good bait and switch, because, no, I wasn't expecting it. Guys, this movie, we're discussing...
This is the first time you watched it, Ty?
Yes, it was. This is the first time I'd seen The Game. So, we're discussing The Game. This movie came out in 1997. This is like a perfect late 90s Michael Douglas film. It's just so perfect in a lot of ways. But then again, it does feel dated in some ways, and also I have so many questions. So, directed by David Fincher. You might know him from movies like
Seven.
Zodiac,
Second
Panic
best
Room,
fetching director of all time.
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Has the same mood for all of his films. Gone Girl.
Depraved.
Just the same mood. It's depraved, manic, great. Let's get into, real quick, a plot synopsis. So it just says, after a wealthy banker is given an opportunity to participate in a mysterious game, his life is turned upside down when he becomes unable to distinguish between the game and reality. Like, on paper, that's how you sell this movie. Like who wouldn't make that film? Like, of course. And David Fincher directing, sign me up. How did I not hear about this movie?
What? You didn't?
And how did I not see this?
And Michael Douglas as the lead? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Michael Douglas. Off of 90s fame, late 90s fame, dude. This is one of the biggest stars of those espionage sexy thrillers, that's him, dude.
Yeah, but Sean Penn came in good too. He had a small part, but he came in good.
Yeah, it's funny to see Sean Penn. I'm like, Michael Douglas, Sean Penn. Like, how have we not seen them as brothers? These two steely, hot-headed, cool guys, They just demand a lot of presence,
Yeah.
Let's get into this movie. What was it like watching it the first time and rewatching it for the podcast? Why don't we start with you, Nick?
So I have watched this movie before, one of the few.
Yeah.
And I've actually probably seen it on more than one occasion in the past. And, I thought I knew the movie and the ending from the first time I watched it, because obviously the first time watching it is just a jaw dropper. I was just like, what? I can't believe it. It takes you back. And then going into the second time, I'm like, I thought it wasn't going to be as good, because I'm like, I already know the ending. And then we got to the ending, and I was completely wrong. I forgot the whole ending, and it was a jaw dropper for the second time again. So it just did not fail to impress, even after watching it multiple times.
Do you like this one or Basic Instinct better?
I like this one better a little bit. I mean, again, this one's a little long, okay, but...
Yeah, let's not forget, this movie is 2 hours and 9 minutes.
2 hours and 9 minutes, and the beginning part, they go really slow into, showing his life. And that's what the whole, first 40 minutes are, is just hey, we're just going to show you how this guy lives his life. I feel like we could have sped that up a little bit. But
yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, it's true. And I will say, the backstory, too. We understand a little bit about him. There's a mystery surrounding his family and all that, so... For sure. They took a sweet time.
Yeah.
David Fincher, man. Jordan, how about you? What was it like watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for the pod?
The first time I watched it with Dad Rich, he showed me, he was like, hey, want to watch a really crazy movie? And I'm like, all right. And first time I watched it, I was like, man, this is really dark. But after watching Gone Girl, I went back and rewatched all of Fincher's films. And then I'm like,
this is pretty tame compared to
his other
Gone
movies.
Girl.
Yeah. So And then rewatching it for the podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this movie. It's so good. And I'm so glad to bring on Nick for this one because I just feel like you like love people that are like live in the high class and just, I don't know, you just have respect for that kind of stuff.
I felt bad for him, man. I was always on Douglas's side, even through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Even when everybody else thought he was an a-hole, I was like, man, it's just business.
It's just business. That business. Don't
But
take
he
it
didn't
personal.
seem like he was happy. That's the thing, you know? And that's why I
He's
think this
missing a
whole
woman in
game
his
started.
life.
Yeah. I'm like, why is this billionaire baller by himself all the time, driving whatever car he's driving? I'm like, dude, if I had his money,
He should be chilling with the big leagues,
I would have
getting
a
his
whole
toes licked by
the
beautiful women.
posse, everything, man. I wouldn't be traveling alone. None of this would have happened to me if I had, if I had $600 million in the 90s. Yeah.
Nick, that is always my invitation. I hear people say that money can't buy happiness. I say, try me.
Yeah,
just
right on.
Please try me.
See, I'll be happy.
Give me
I'll be
all the money.
happy.
I'll show you the fetching happiness.
I'll be happy.
Dude.
I'll be happy all the way to the bank, baby. And as we walk in the bank, everybody smiles because they see you. They're like, ooh, isn't it $600 million?
Oh, I love it. Cameron, how about you, man? What was it like watching this one for the first time, rewatching it for the pod?
So yeah, I watched it first time. I was so surprised, Tyler, you hadn't seen this because yeah, this has been in my top 100 for a while, and yeah, the first time I watched it, I was just like, I watched it with Jordan. I was just like, what the fudge, dude? And as soon as the clown was involved, I was like, nope, oh no, man, I'm like, he's in for a trip, bro. These people are psycho, and yeah, I think it's very hard to beat that first experience, but that's what I was so impressed with the second time, because it'd been like 4 years since I'd watched it, and there was a lot of things I still forgot, and there were still a few like scares that got me, like that fetching part when she's like, make sure that you're alone in the house, like that the robber's still not there, and then his fetching brother comes up. I jumped. I was like, "Oh my fudge!" She's like, "Make sure that you're not alone in the house." And then he's like, "Boom!" I was like, "Oh my gosh, that freaked me out so bad." But yeah. And then watching it for the second time, just man, I didn't realize how freaking dark this movie is. I kind of explained that more in like some of my favorite things about it. But yeah,
It's excellent. Let's get into two of our favorite things. Why don't we have Nick? Why don't you start us off? Two of your favorite things from this movie.
All right, one of my favorite things, man, about this movie was that you never knew who was trustworthy the whole time. You didn't know who was part of the game, who wasn't. Was there even a game to begin with? Because, you know, I was like, okay, this is a pretty intense game. So they did a great job of like misleading you on so many different directions. I just couldn't keep up. And then it's like the very end. You try to figure out the movie throughout the whole time, like, oh my, what's going on here? And the more it goes through, the less it seems like a game and that they're trying to steal his $600 million. That's what I thought the first time. I'm like, they robbed him. Oh no, poor guy. But yeah, no. And then my second favorite thing is actually a part of the movie. Guys, come on, that part with the TV when they took over the TV and was talking. That was, I don't know what about that, but it was like I actually had to rewatch it. I'm like, this is pretty dope. I wish my TV
was
could talk
bonkers.
to me. I know. I'm like, so cool. However they did that, you know, they could see they were hacking into it or something because the thing kept just changing. But
yeah,
no,
yet his mouth was moving still in unison with what he was saying. I was like, what
right.
the fudge?
It was
How powerful are these people?
really cool, and I'm like, uh-oh, that clown. So yeah, great stuff. Obviously, there's lots of other things I love, but those are just my two favorites.
It's great. Cameron, how about you?
I think my favorite thing, which I didn't pick up on as much as the first time, is I just loved the weight of this film. Like you see his mental state just laid out so well. Like I love the opening scene is so beautiful of just kind of showing like his childhood, and then like you see how that's looped in when his wife's like, oh, I just wanted to say, like, happy birthday. Like, I know this must be a tough one since your dad was 48 when it happened. And he's like, oh, I haven't even been thinking about that. And, like, we've seen his thoughts, so we know that's, like, all he has been thinking about. And, I don't know, it just made, for me, that's why it kind of made the ending so much more sad and depressing for me, is I was just like, why is everyone congratulating and, like, applauding? Like, the man literally just chose to kill himself. He just said, well, I have nothing left.
Yes.
I killed myself. And everyone's like, yay, it's your birthday. And I'm like, what the sickos? Like,
That was his rebirth, guys. Come on now. It was his rebirth. It was very, very necessary.
first
The guy even
birthday.
said, I'd have to throw you off. This is your rebirth. He died. Not really, but
yeah, I don't know. Like,
mentally, that
fell
was the
through
cutoff.
the roof, fell through the fetching roof onto the pad.
Again, movie's crazy. And this obviously could never happen in real life because, like,
liability.
what the hell?
What are you talking about?
Liability
That happens
up-
all the time.
Yeah, liability.
Well, what if he didn't like? What if the window got jammed when he was trying to unroll it? And he just drowned.
They would have to have some. I bet you there was a guy in there with, like, scuba gear ready to go get him out. Did you see how long that bill was at the end? It was like 50 pages.
Yeah, and
They
then he's like, I'll
charged him-
split it with you.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a whole...
I
Yeah,
don't
his,
know how
his
much damage
good for
you've
nothing
caused.
Sean
Yeah.
Penn's character had no money, so he's gonna have to pay for it. That's another nitpick I have about this whole thing. But anyway, I'd love to talk to you guys about that after. But
And then yeah, kind
what's
of
your
my
other
second
favorite
favorite
thing,
thing is I'm naturally kind of a paranoid person, especially in movies. I trust very few people, and like in video games, that's why I will usually like decide who I can and can't trust pretty quickly.
naturally kind of a paranoid person. He really is.
I choose who I can and can't trust like immediately, and then it's like you're guilty until proven innocent for me. And so that's why this movie just totally got me so many times because I was like, the first time watching, I was like, I don't bet you trust that girl. I'm like, she's way suspicious because she's like, oh yeah, especially when she's like paying so close attention to when he's talking about his security code. I was like, and then she gives him
steal
the
his money.
coffee. Yeah, I was like, frick no. And then find out like, I don't know. I just think they just did a really good bait and switch just the entire time. Kind of like Nick mentioned, you're just guessing and you're like, who can he trust? Like, it's kind of like the murder mystery like vibe where it's like, oh fudge, maybe he did it, or maybe he did, or maybe he's in on it. And okay, they said it was blanks, but how the F were they just tearing up those houses and buildings with blanks, bro? Those were not blanks.
They said pyrotechnics and all kinds of crazy jank. This whole thing was a setup.
I don't know, man.
It could be done, I guess, realistically, but it would be...
Dude, I got Mad Truman Show vibes as soon as he had the actual gun, and she's like, he has a real gun. She's like, where did you get that gun? And he's like, oh, you must not have checked really good for this one. And she's like, he has a real gun. I repeat, he has a real gun.
Yeah, this gets really funny points from me for that. Like where it's like blurs the lines between what's even feasible. In the end, it's a movie. Sure, all this could happen feasibly, but it's like I don't know. To me, I always get like if you're gonna make one movie about the game, this is how you do it. You do all the craziest stuff possible, right? Like actual
Yeah, like how
guns
you're gonna
going off.
distort the TV.
It's a lot like it reminds me of Total Recall, where Arnold Schwarzenegger the whole time you're like I don't know if he's actually really in this world or not, or is he in the simulation just dreaming all this, or is this real? Like I like that so. Because the movie goes for it, right? Like, it's like, there's no way they could rig all of this.
I
And there
don't
were
know,
so many bait and
maybe.
switches at the end.
Yeah.
And
With
theory,
enough
it's
money,
possible, right?
possibly,
Yeah.
which I'm sure
Exactly.
he paid. Everybody was hired. They just hired all of... Where did this take place? New York?
Yeah, all of New York City.
Yeah.
Jordan, you get into two of your favorite things, and I'll say my two, and then I'll get right into my biggest question about this whole movie.
I guess my two favorite things would have to be like just those little details he puts in there that you're like, oh, like Nick was saying, like, is this part of the game? Like, I love when he sees the little baby rattler and it looks like the clown that he had in his house. And he's like, wait a minute, is this what I'm supposed to be paying attention to? And then the lady comes over and she like looks at him weird and she like picks it up. Like, and when he goes to the bathroom and that guy's talking to him, I'm like, oh shoot, is this part of the game? But then he just asks for toilet paper. Like, I just love that there's like all these little things throughout. You're like, who's in on this? And like,
Makes you paranoid as a viewer.
Yes, paranoid as a viewer.
And that
I
toilet
like that.
paper guy was in on it.
Yeah, dude, it was a test.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting too, where it's like the being paranoid about it. Like I liked that because yes, in the movie I was watching the background, watching all the characters being like, oh, who's part of this, who isn't. It reminded me of like when I watched The Bodyguard. It was just like, oh, who's who's coming out to try to assassinate someone? It's a great one where you're watching, you're like, yeah. I just keep thinking like, okay, who's gonna try to make a move? Like, who's the suspicious guy in the crowd? It does a really good job at establishing that. So I liked it for that. And then another thing I liked, this feels very 90s and feels very Fincherian. David Fincher.
Yeah.
His style is all over
Fincherian?
it. So Fincherian, yeah. It's very Fincherian. And I thought that was fun. So those are my two favorite things. So one of the biggest questions I had was, so the bait and switch is like 800 times. What I didn't understand is like his father committed suicide. Is that why we know that he would end up committing suicide? Or was his father involved in this ancient long game, which I actually kind of wanted?
I think they drove him. I mean, the whole thing is that they made him take all those psychological tests. They knew his entire background. They made this to push him over the edge.
They would know that he
and
would
he had
do
been
that.
thinking about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he had been thinking about it before, because remember he was thinking about his father, visioning that night. You know, he had been mentioning it to people.
And the first interaction that the CRS has with him is like the imitation of his father's death, like his dead body just chilling there as a clown.
Yeah, right. So they were out to break him.
His dad died. That's right.
That was so cruel, leaving a body.
That's why, Kate. That was why. As soon as I told Jordan, like, as soon as like one, it's a clown, and then it's in the exact same spot that his dad died. I'm like, yo, they know too much, bro. When they know exactly where your father died and like how, I'm like, that's a no for me. Get out of there.
I think the game was amazing, life changing. He's gonna be a better man, and that $600 million is gonna be $1.2 billion. No time. He's gonna be able to do business much better now. Stress-free. He just went through. He came back out the other side shining. He's fine.
You're saying you'd play the game, Nick?
No, I wouldn't play the game, but because he had to jump in a trash can to escape. I wouldn't do that crap.
Yeah, you don't want to catch a bus from Mexico?
Yeah, that would terrify me. I probably would think, yeah.
That made me laugh, though, that Baskin Robbins essentially saved the day and brought him home. I like that. That cracked me up. Great product placement.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of my nitpick is kind of similar to like the tie. It's just like it is a little questionable how feasible it is, but
it's not.
Just because of like some of the people that were like on the outside, like just random people he would run into that I like felt like they were partially in on it, and I'm like, yo, how many extras you got, bro? Like, holy shiz, they're coming out the woodwork.
Dude, this is the top of the top, man. This is the people that really want to play some games.
Yeah.
And as you can see, all the clientele, they're all like ultra rich. So
well, and that was the thing I was actually kind of hoping. I was kind of hoping that there was a more nefarious thing rather than it being this uplifting thing. It didn't seem Fincherian enough, if that makes sense. Like, I'm almost like, maybe he had to do it back in the 90s. Yeah, it was like, you have to make it where it's a positive spin because the movie's so dark anyway.
I thought it was gonna end in like, they're like, oh yeah, we just push these people like that have no meaning in life to the brink of suicide, and we just
or
take
even
all their money.
not even just that. I just thought it was actually like, we blackmail people. Yeah, we just blackmail rich, powerful people. That's all we do. Like politicians, billionaires. I just thought that was their gig.
Because his brother is shady as shiz.
Again,
yeah,
that's part of the movie.
Yeah, and I even liked it because he even mentions, he's like, I'm in deep, right? And I was like, oh, that's clever. Like his brother sold him out because he's like, oh, I have a rich brother, and they got to him through his brother initially. And it was only his brother that could lead him to the game people. And the game people were like, all right, let's get to work on this guy. He's a rich millionaire. We'll take all of his money, or a billionaire even. We'll take all of his money. So that's where I thought it was going.
That's one of the curveballs, man. That's why it's so great.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I thought. I'm like,
no,
his money.
The saddest moment in this movie for Nick.
Second
balance, $0.
Oh my gosh, when he was on the phone, I was thinking about like what I would do. I'd be like, no, you get my money back. Freeze all the accounts. Stop.
Well, and then she makes him think the lawyer's in on it. I'm like, oh no.
Right.
Yeah.
The money's good. The lawyer was never in on it.
The worst timing too, because he's like, what's your exact location? And you're like, that's a pretty suspicious wording.
He's like, they're coming to get you. I thought that was great too. Yeah, he's like, where are you? Like, I was like, that's when I got chills. I was like, oh, the lawyer's in on it. Like, he was the one that gave him access to everything, and I loved that. When everything's turning against him, that was some of my favorite parts from this movie for sure.
Yeah, and see, this movie is a lot better than like Beautiful Mind does not do as well without like after knowing the twist. But this movie, even with knowing the twist, I was still like, holy cow, this is an insane movie.
Yeah.
Beautiful Mind. It's like a David Fincher directing. It's a Beautiful Mind.
Yeah, for real.
I want to live again after he dives off a roof. Oh my word. Yeah, you're right. That mood shift, it doesn't necessarily work for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's one of my the
brothers all
as
like,
well.
oh,
everyone's like
throw
just
yourself off
clapping
a roof
and so
for me.
happy for him, and he's just like,
I'm just like, that man just literally 35 seconds ago decided
Tried to kill
suicide.
himself. Literally
He
was
chose
in the
suicide
act of
over
committing
living, and we're
suicide.
out here
Like,
just
that
giving
was
him
the
a,
whole
like a
point.
standing O. I'm like,
but
what the
see, again,
fudge
it's
is
like-
happening? A standing ovation
Now that
for
everybody
suicide?
knew, now once everybody finds out it's a game, it's like, I get it, guys. I am totally down with it. I don't think
like,
it could
the
happen,
other
but
people
if
that
it could,
spoke about the game, do they all end up getting thrown off a roof? I guess
well,
not,
no, because
right?
that was
I'm
tailored to
guessing
him
not.
because his father jumped off. Again,
Good point.
This is
So like
tailored
the other
to his
guys,
psyche
yes,
to break
that's what I
him
was saying.
and start anew.
Interesting. Now that you say that, yeah, the whole psych eval makes a little bit more sense. I thought that was just part of the game where they were like, "Oh, you're not accepted." I already knew in the back of my mind, I'm like, "Oh, he's gonna get like initiated, even though he said he's not."
Obviously, because
I
there
love
wouldn't be
that.
a
There were
movie. Come on.
There wouldn't be much of a movie, or like he would have mistakenly got involved in something that he wasn't trying to be. Like again, someone working at this establishment. Because when they like goes to the office building and they're all gone, I was like, "Oh, that's a great
Dude,
moment."
the
where it's
hospital
like,
scene
It was
is
here.
so
I swear.
eerie. The hospital scene is
Yeah,
so
the hospital.
eerie.
Yeah,
Just, like,
getting taken
everyone
to the
just, it's
emergency
just
room.
quiet. Like all the lights turn off, and you just like see people like scatter like rats. I was like, what the fudge?
Yeah, it's very unsettling, and I like how small they made the world seem.
Dude,
right?
oh,
yeah.
okay,
they seem so powerful, but like it's like he has nowhere to go. Like
Yeah,
he,
right.
he
That
can't
that
call
was
anyone.
another thing I forgot.
Can't trust anyone.
I forgot to mention about my favorite parts, dude. The score in this movie, holy shiz! Every time it's like it goes quiet, and you just hear the little piano, like ding, 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 ding. I'm like, oh frick! Like always gets me like so much on edge. It's so well done.
Well, I love how quickly the game turns. Like at first you're like, oh, this is a kind of intense game, but then it just like gets when he goes to the top of the hotel and he's kind of like laughing at how dumb this is. But then when he goes inside the hotel, there's cocaine everywhere.
Oh, and pictures and yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
when he
it's
body
like, oh,
checks
man.
that room service lady, that was the funniest shit
Yeah,
ever.
yeah.
I'll come back later.
Yep.
and then he nervously cuts his hand and gets blood everywhere. I was like, oh no.
I know his blood is all over the apartment.
I thought he was getting set up too for something big. I'm like, whatever they did here, this is something.
Yeah, see, all that stuff. I thought that was all the blackmail. Like, oh, this is perfect because now he's at their
That
whim.
was just that was the start.
Dude, especially, oh my gosh, the reveal when he's going through her house and everything's fake and empty. I'm like, oh no. See, that was my suspicions being confirmed. I was like, I knew it. She's in on it. Oh, I can't fucking trust
I'm not gonna
her.
lie. There was never a moment where I didn't think that she was in on it more than she let on. To be fair, so I feel bad that I think I knew that. But even to the very end, I still didn't know. Like when she's sitting there and like, oh, he has a gun. I was like, I always knew this was gonna be happening. Like I knew that she'd be involved. But in the end, like this very non-threatening, like you've learned something. Your brother made you spend more of your money so you could learn this experience. What a generous brother you have.
Who's going to make you pay for
Where
it?
he's like, I'll make you pay for this cathartic
no, he's only paying
experience.
for half of it.
But Sean Penn, does he have money? I
Sean
always thought he
Penn
was a bum.
probably
He's-
does have some money, but not as much as his
think so?
brother, not 600 million.
Like I said, well, wasn't
He used to
was
be
it-
on
oh,
crystal
because their father
meth,
was
Ty.
rough. Yeah.
Remember at the dinner table, he's like, you off the meth? And he's just like...
I know, like he does drugs. I just figured he was a drug. But then again, they obviously
this
had a wealthy
changed his
father,
life.
so yeah, yeah, that's true, right? So
Like-
I'm guessing Sean Penn got this game played on him, or
Yeah.
at least found out about it and wanted to
One
get
of
it
his
done.
rich friends probably did it. Like, buddy, we gotta fix you up. Gotta get you off
We
the
gotta
meth.
fix you up.
This will
Yep.
get you right off the meth real good.
After you throw yourself from a building.
Yeah.
This is
Well, whatever his death thing was. You know.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Maybe he was overdosing, right?
Maybe,
Or maybe he
yeah.
thought his friend overdosed.
I mean, he
yeah.
did say he was
I am
like he woke
interested
up
to
naked
see-
on a beach somewhere in Ibiza, so maybe that was his thing. Like,
I almost feel like there's like either a reality show or a TV show that you could do about this, even if it's fictitious characters, just the game and how they pull off all these cathartic, masterful, cons where they end up self-therapizing through their great deepest, darkest demons. I don't know if that even made sense.
No, Ty, there
There's
was
gotta be
a
a market for
Netflix
it,
show
right?
where
Yeah.
they seriously set it up so that, like, to see how far they can push a person. And one person committed murder, like, it not really killed somebody, but, like, they thought they did.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, like thinking they're
And the
part of
producer's like,
adversary.
okay.
That would psychologically mess you up.
That's like Rick and
Was
That's
that
like Rick
was that
and
from
Morty
Sacha
to
Baron Cohen?
Jordan.
Did he do something like that where he got some guy to like?
they did a
willingly
show
agree
like
to go
that.
somewhere?
I don't know how real it was though. It's like,
Right.
Yeah,
these
I
people-
wondered that too.
I'm like, bull crap.
Yeah, Jordan, it's like Rick and Morty when Morty tries to kill Rick, and he's like, "Oh, but you saw that you can't kill me with on the sheet." And he's like, "Oh yeah, good thing I read that." When he was like actually was trying to murder Rick.
Yeah, in that moment of passion, right? He shoots him. him, and he's like, "Oh, good thing you saw it was a decoy gun." And he's like, "Yeah, good thing." Clearly didn't see the note that it said decoy
Oh, I
gun on
see
the
what you're
side.
saying, yeah.
He thought he actually murdered Rick, or he was trying to, so didn't know it was a decoy gun.
Rick and Morty.
So, you guys have any quotes or things you wanted to throw out about the game? Yeah, the doll seemed out of place, to be honest. If I'm being honest, like, I liked it.
Doll's
but
perfect.
It was
It was so good. That was the
fine.
best part of the movie. Are you
the
kidding
Oh
me?
yeah.
I just kind of wish
That's
it
so
did more. I
eerie.
honestly was hoping
I
it would
wasn't
be like
scared of it. I was like,
say something.
I wasn't scared of it. I'm like, this
Yeah,
is.
I
but
was
would you
hoping it would
you
speak
bring
or
it inside your house?
No.
I would not bring it
not
inside
have
of
brought
my
it inside.
house. No.
No, absolutely not.
But maybe because it's part of the game. Because I knew this would have been like the part.
I
of the
would
game.
have torn that thing. I would have ripped it up in shreds.
I know,
Checked
I-
every fiber in that thing.
They would have had a
im-
backup plan for that.
cameras.
They had
I
a
would have,
backup
I would
plan.
have
Oh, for sure, but I'm just saying, I wouldn't
immediately
trust to
thrown
bring
it
it in my
into the
house.
garbage can.
Yeah.
Not even mine.
I
I would
would've
have
lit
been
it on
knocking on your
fire.
door in the middle of the night,
thrown it-
Cameron, like freaking Conjuring doll, dude.
I would have
Oh my
thrown
gosh,
it
that's what we
into
thought
my
of.
neighbor's garbage can.
I don't know, guys.
Well, your neighbor lives pretty far away, dude. Yeah, because
I'll-
he's got a pretty nice manor over there.
I would have
dude.
been intrigued. I probably would have brought it in. I don't know. I'd like to
crazy.
say,
Trojan horse.
I would like to say I
I-
wouldn't, but I don't know. I'd be like,
That's
nah,
how
this-
Nick, you're the guy. Did you watch The Conjuring, Nick?
Well, yes.
Yes.
Okay, and The
Oh, yes.
Conjuring is
You-
terrifying, but
you'd
this
be the
doll
guy
was
that
a-
goes through the possessed room and starts touching all the trinkets.
Yeah,
You're like,
but
oh,
this-
that looks haunted. That looks cursed.
This doll was nice. He was a nice clown.
What the? Yeah, in the
was
position
waiting
of
for
your
something more
dead
menacing.
dad.
With a key in his mouth to secrets.
Also, I love the scene where Michael Douglas.
That's so
Michael
ridiculous.
Douglas' performance dude, was so good. Like the scene where he flips out and is just smashing the suitcase in the airport or wherever he is.
That
is
was a
so
great
over the
moment.
top. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it was
oh
really
my
over
poor.
the top.
And all that
biggest
was in there was a
overreaction.
bunch of photos. That was all. That's a good thing he didn't get that thing open. That would have been embarrassing.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Gets it open. He's like, oh shoot.
Just like
yeah.
500 photos fly out.
No, my favorite is
over.
when Fincher has a lot of dark humor. He he walks in the room and throws all those photos at the old coworker, and his wife and daughter are there.
Yeah. He's like, you effing think you
That's
can
so
blackmail
sad.
me? And then he's like, oh, I already agreed to step down. And he's like,
Yeah.
oh shiz,
It's like,
my
oh,
bad.
You weren't. It's like,
He's a
I don't care how
lawyer.
bad. He's like, you think I'll be dissuaded by a bunch of drugs or something like that? Yeah, you think extortion was the way to go? I love that. Yeah, he like threatens him. That was a
Dude,
great
honestly,
scene.
one of the dumbest but funniest quotes of the movie is when it was just so over the top when Conrad's like, they just you, and then they you, and then they you, and then just when you think it's all over, that's when the real starts. Just add to like the chaotic
goodness.
energy of just like, oh my gosh, like he is so scared of these people, and these people are so powerful.
Did we mention the? Oh yeah, we mentioned the cast, right? I hope we did. Michael Douglas, Deborah Kara Unger, Sean Penn, James Rebhorn. Where do I know him from? I remember him from the. He's that big tall guy. Was he in like the movie Babe or something? No, not Babe. What was it? Oh, Independence Day, right? He was the.
Oh, wait, let me see.
I remember from Independence
Let me
Day.
pull it
yeah,
up.
James Rebhorn. He's got that one face. Like I don't know. He was in all those movies. He's always that guy. I never remember his name.
Which one is it?
James Rebhorn. He's the balding guy. He's the guy that like
Oh,
does the game.
yeah.
He's the game guy.
He is in Independence Day. He's like the Secretary
Right.
of Defense or something, one that gets fired at the end.
Yeah. Exactly.
He
Exactly.
just wants to, nuke us. I advise you launch a nuclear attack. No, please.
He was in that movie Real Steel.
Yeah, I was trying to
Can't
look,
remember.
and he does have a
What's the
very
one that I
similar
remember him
face.
from?
I know, that's what I'm looking at right now. I'm like, I don't see anything that I'm like, oh, that's what he's from.
He was in the Box movie. That's so funny.
I love that everybody's kind of messing with him. Like when he goes in for that whole intro and he's in there, he's taking all those tests and he's like, how much longer is this going to be? And he's just like, and they're like, oh, well, you're almost done. I love that.
They just keep,
You're almost
bring 'em
done, and
on.
then there's another 3 hours
Yeah.
later, like after blood work.
My
after
whole day
this,
has
after
just
that.
been taken.
And then they call him during a business, like an important business meeting to tell him, sorry, you didn't qualify. Like, that's so great. It's
Yeah,
so
it's the
funny.
best. This is a great company, guys.
Oh, I watched The Talented Mr. Ripley earlier this year. That's what I'm thinking of. I just couldn't think of the movie I was thinking of. I was like, I just saw him in something. So, The Talented Mr. Ripley, he was in that. Well, excellent, guys. I gotta say, do you guys have any quotes from this movie?
I love it when he has the gun. He's like, I'm extremely fragile right now. I'm like, oh my, do not
was
get in his fetching
a
way. He will
great
murder you.
line.
No hesitation. This man is off the rails.
Love that. That was great. Yeah, he literally threatens the carjacker, right? Because he runs up to his window ready to steal his car. And
Yeah,
he's like,
get out the car,
don't
man.
mess with me, man.
He's like, I am very fragile right now. And he's like,
It's like, have you ever seen my movie Falling Down? Yeah.
Oh, I got the quote. I like this one. I don't care about the money. I'm pulling back the curtain. I want to meet the wizard.
Yes, that
Yes.
was great.
That was the other thing, too. I liked how they leaned into that because it was very Wizard of Oz-esque, where,
yeah.
you know, it's
Wanna
this
meet the
whole
wizard.
buildup of... That was great.
yeah, this is the scene where when he like barges in, throws the picture. He's like, you really believe that you can publish? It's like, just because you publish children's book, people are gonna care about my reputation. You can have me wearing rings, Captain Kangaroo, and all you care about is the stock, whether the stock is up or down.
And that old guy was so cool with everything, man. It's like nothing phased him. He was a little mad at the beginning, like when he found out that they were just gonna like oust him, you know, bye-bye, but, you know, give him a bunch of money. And then the other times, even after he just popped in there, he was just all like, you know, just smoking a cigar, just all nice and chill. And then he went to his birthday. Dude just fired him and he came to his birthday party, so.
Dude, I love the eerie, creepy, just like audio bits of like his conversation with his brother, like his altercation, just like recorded. You're like, what the fudge? Like, did you guys have ears everywhere? Like, you psychopaths? That just adds to like
That
the
was
ominous
great.
feeling of kind of you're talking about, Ty, of like the small city overpowering power. Because it's just like,
Yeah.
what can't they control?
Right, like his car breaks down in the middle of some street random and nowhere, and then there's this taxi driver that knows where to pick him up, and it's just one thing after another where it's like, I mean, in theory,
Can we
yes,
address
but
that
there's just too
taxi
many
driver who just
variables.
like Jason Bourne's out of the car?
Yeah,
I
those
love
scars
it.
on his
Again,
face.
yeah.
Look, he's done this before, guys. He's
Yeah.
got the marks to prove
Yeah.
it. This guy's
He's
been
the-
this is
he's
a long
the
time
guy, and
CSR guy.
And every person's the game. He's like, we
CRS.
always need the taxi driver that drives him into a lake. Like, it's like a requisite, regardless of whatever your therapy is.
I love
That's always something
I
that
love
comes
the
up.
like the regular person that's not in on the CRS's reaction to just seeing a guy just like driving a taxi just jump out of it like 30 miles an hour. He's like, what the F is wrong with you, man?
Awesome, great movie.
So good. I love Michael Douglas. Holy
Yeah,
crap.
his performance is amazing.
His performance was amazing.
I love it. All right, folks. Oh, and at the end, you know, like, let's get a coffee or whatever, you know, they fall in love. Like, that's, again, this is so unlike David Fincher, in my opinion. But that's so funny that I say that now, because I'm trying to think of all those movies. Which ones end with a happy ending? I can't think of a single
Zodiac
one.
ends optimistic-ish.
What?
Does it,
Does
though?
it?
Yes. Yeah, does it? I think it's super bleak and
you
sad.
show the kid like the pictures and like possibly, I guess it is kind of just depressing as shit.
That movie is very depressing.
Yeah.
The only other quote I will say from the game, I remember at the beginning when Sean Penn sits down, and I can't tell if it's actor Sean Penn or just his character Conrad, where he's just like, you can't smoke that in here. He goes, I'm with you. And he's like, it's illegal to smoke in restaurants in California. F California. Why is Sean Penn so funny, dude? Like, I mean,
I love it.
he's
He's
so
like,
off the
he's
handle,
like,
dude.
oh, they gave me this free suit. He's like, they're gonna want their suit back.
I love it. Yeah, they give him the suit because he can't sit in this restaurant without a suit jacket on. It's great, dude. So funny.
Dude, that's the goal in life, is to be like, I love it when she spills the drink on him and he's like, he's one of our valued customers.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, F him. And he's like, I'll clean out your locker.
Yeah.
See,
A lot of 90s references, too. Like, I don't know why. It's so
Well, I
funny.
mean-
This movie feels very 90s.
was from the 90s.
Oh, for sure. It just has, like, all the hallmarks. Like, I'm sure there was, like, a big cell phone at one moment in this movie.
Well, he
The
did.
cord
He didn't know
line
because he was
phones.
a baller. Remember, he had the newest tech. He had the cell
Yeah,
phone.
yeah.
It wasn't, super big.
Big.
It was like the
antenna.
Nokia, like the little
Yeah.
handheld with the little flip down door
So
that covered
good,
the
dude.
buttons, whatever that was for.
So you didn't accidentally butt dial somebody.
Yeah,
It's not like you could carry it around in your pocket, though.
I guess not.
Dude, Nick,
love
how would
it.
you like having a shower in your office?
I would love having a shower in my office. That'd be sweet.
Shower in your office, dude.
Yeah.
Never have to leave, dude.
Shower, bathroom. I mean, the whole shebang. And that's just it. Yeah, the guy was just a baller, man. Michael Douglas. Swag
Michael
suits
Douglas
the whole
did.
movie.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
he could have
very
went with a
much-
better choice of like, you know, shirts. I like his shirts, but
The turtlenecks.
the stripes. I'm like, man, you could have went with something. But this is the '90s. You know, people dress a lot better nowadays.
To be fair, I even like. I think the poster to this movie is really good. I just want to give a shout out to that, where you have
Puzzle.
Michael Douglas and his head, his puzzle pieces. I just like that. I thought that was really good. Just very. I don't know. Like it does actually a lot more because it seems more abstract, and yet movie posters are a work of art. So I like that they chose that. And again, there was nothing supernatural about this movie, which I actually thought there would be something a little bit supernatural about the movie. Maybe the doll. I actually thought like, oh, David Fincher did a horror movie, but it's like, no, it's like a thriller, technically grounded in reality. It's just a far stretch where
Yeah, I think they label it as
they're
a
so
mystery
powerful, they
too,
can do
don't they?
anything.
Like a little bit,
Yeah.
mystery genre in there.
Yeah, like a noir twist.
I
don't know
think
what
there
to
must
call
have
it,
been Ty a first draft where he just had it depressing,
Yes.
and they read
Yes.
through it and they're like,
You have to twist it a
they're
third
like,
time and make
we
it
won't let
happy.
you make
Yeah,
this movie
yeah.
without a different ending.
I know, because like suicide is a difficult topic, I feel like, to talk about, and it's cathartic, but in the sense that it was the one thing that healed Michael Douglas is pretty crazy. Like, I guess he wasn't willing to live in a world without his brother. So I almost thought, like, is that just for Sean Penn to toot his own horn and be like, see, my brother can't live without me. He's crazy about me. You know, like, that was my only biggest nitpick where I'm like, I guess if Michael Douglas literally self-sacrificed himself because he thought he murdered his own brother in cold blood. Well, no, it wasn't cold blood. It was an accident. He
accident.
comes
It
out
was
the door and he
100%
thought he was like murder. Yeah, it was like Michael Douglas literally wouldn't go on living his life because he thought he killed his brother by accident.
Well, and he
Like,
lost
didn't
all his
justify
money,
it to
Ty.
himself.
He lost
He
everything.
thought he had no money, no house is his house. It said they had the sign on there. They took his house. He had to break into his own dang
foreclosure,
house.
yeah.
He had nothing, and
That's
then he just
true.
killed his brother. Not to mention, over the last couple of days, he's been drove into psychosis. You know,
Right.
Yeah,
Left
it was very
in the-
understandable.
Left in Mexico, trying to find his
Oh,
way
Yeah.
that
back.
was crazy. Yeah, that was another scene where I feel like
You
went
know, a
on for a
guy
long
with
time, but I'm
that
like,
watch
they
doesn't
abandoned
have
him in
a
Mexico.
passport problem.
Yeah.
That you
See, that's the
slime
biggest
dog.
challenge. They must have had people like in the background with like, AKs just ready to protect him because like
He even sold his watch that his dad gave him, the last thing he had of his dad. Remember,
had to
he's
get
like,
rid of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the happy
Goodbye.
Get out
16th
of-
birthday.
So crazy. Well, they broke him down, and he's for the better, I guess. Is he? Does he go on living forever in peace and happiness with his brother Sean
Well,
Penn?
that's what it makes you believe.
Yeah. Again, it just feels so strange for David Fincher. I want to look that up if there was
Wow.
some studio executive that was like, you can't
is
do
such
this.
an uplifting film.
See,
And
that's
so-
the thing I don't understand.
What's in
Maybe
every
Fincher had it
box?
this way. I just don't buy it. I feel like someone got in the way of
No,
who wrote it.
No,
Did
I
Fincher
think
write
I
this
don't
as well?
know, man. Maybe you could
No,
look at the
see,
facts.
the writers. No, see, the writers were John Brancato, or Brancato, I don't know how to pronounce that, and Michael Ferris. So
I don't know
David
if he
Fincher
writes
didn't
though his
write this.
movies though. I don't think he writes his other movies though.
I'll check. What is David
I'm pretty
Fincher
sure
write?
he just
He's
takes
a
other
writer.
people's material.
Yeah, it's interesting. No, you're right. He does. He
just
wrote
directs it.
3 different things.
Oh.
Yeah, he wrote The Hire, The Ticker, and Beat the Devil. But you're right. He doesn't write his stuff. Anyway, I was just surprised, is all. But then again, I'm like, okay, the director does obviously have a signature. Like, it has all the Fincherian things. I was just so surprised that the movie ended as upbeat as it did. That's all. Like,
Right.
Because
But
like
again, that was
none
the whole
of his
point.
other films do. Yeah.
Surprise you.
Surprise, yeah. And it was,
Surprise.
and you know what? That is interesting, where it's like, that's the game,
Well,
right?
I think
Like,
Panic Room
surprising.
also. This was a phase. I think he had a very small phase where he made 2 like
Upbeat
still
movies,
very
yeah.
dark movies, but like Panic Room didn't end as disturbing either. So
True. It actually ended kind of like The Killing. I actually thought it was like a callback to the movie The Killing by Stanley Kubrick, where he was
Oh,
forced by
yeah.
the Hays Code, and at the end,
To make
the
a happy
guys
ending.
get their, So I thought that was interesting. But again, I'm just talking about my butt. I have no idea if he used inspiration from that, but they both end the same way. So I can't imagine that there's no comparison that can be drawn between the two. So
Panic.
It
Room.
is
I
his-
just think that's interesting.
it is
'Cause,
his
like,
earlier movies. So I mean, after he got full creative control, now I'm sure he just he's like, I can make any
Like,
ending I,
I
want.
Guys, I
I-
didn't want
I
this movie
almost
to end
think-
dark. I'm glad it ended the way it did. Didn't want it to end any other way.
See, I'll be honest. I almost did. I almost wish that the game failed and it actually drove him to do something drastic.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I actually thought that's where the movie
And
was
that's
going.
what I
was that
thought when I watched the second time actually
at
happened.
the rooftop.
Yeah.
That was a great moment. Yeah, where it's like,
I was
and
like,
then he
oh
kills
yeah, I was
himself.
right. He
and I'm
does
like,
kill his brother. Oh no! And then like,
Yeah,
'cause
he
I'm like,
kills
I
his
forgot
brother.
the last part after he killed his brother. That's the only thing that stuck with me. So that's what I thought. And there actually is another movie I was telling Jordan about. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a more recent one. It's the same premise as this, except it ends in the bad way. it ends with someone actually dying, and everybody's like, "Oh my, why'd you do it?"
Right, yeah. It's like, what are you doing? He's like, I thought all this was real,
Right,
you know?
right.
Yeah. I guess there's enough movies that they do that in where there's not enough movies where they successfully pull it off.
Right.
They're like, it always goes wrong, right? It's like, oh, we were all just playing it. It's kind of reminds me, was it The Good Neighbor, Jordan?
Yeah. Oh, don't
That-
spoil that one. That was a good one. We'll have to do that
Yeah,
one.
I won't. But again,
The Good
just
Neighbor.
The Good Neighbor. Yeah.
Ooh.
Don't
You
spoil
remember
that.
one,
It's on
Nick?
my watch list.
Yeah,
On
you should watch that, Cameron.
I'm-
or like what's it called? Don't Breathe. A little bit like that, but not necessarily. But yeah, it's like this plan goes wrong, and then it's like, oh man, now we're. Or even like another good one was I See You, right? There's a little bit of that in there where it's like, I don't know. I guess I'm just finding the mood of all these movies, but I am surprised that David Fincher, and knowing everything I know about him and his films, that he didn't think like,
Ty, now that you've seen
here's
this,
2 cuts of the movie.
now that you've seen this one, where does it rank on David Fincher movies for you?
See,
careful with
interesting
what
that
you
say
say.
that. Yeah, I think my favorite movie of David Fincher
Nope,
is
it's not
between
Social Network.
Zodiac.
Okay, good.
It's Social Network easily.
Right,
Social
yeah,
Network
so
is number
Social Network
2.
is my favorite, but
This is 3.
But where does it rank? I think my favorite between like
Jordan, you cannot say this
that
is
ranking,
better than
it's
Zodiac. You make me sick.
Ooh,
no
Zodiac's
the
pretty
game.
good. Ooh, but
Yeah,
this is pretty
I'd say
good,
the
too.
game is not as good as Zodiac. It's not as good as Social Network. The game is like it's right. It's
Not
after
as
Gone
good
as
Girl
Social
still.
Network.
Yeah.
It's not as good as Gone Girl
No, it's
or
not.
7. It's like 5th.
Or 7. Yeah, it's after 7 and before. What's the other film I'm thinking of? One second,
Curious
I'll
Case of
pull up
Benjamin
his
Button?
IMDb. Panic Room. Yeah, it's above Panic
Ooh,
Room.
It is above.
Oh,
Panic.
but it's not above The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I really like that one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
above Benjamin Button.
It is. I
Mystic
feel like
River.
lower of all his films, but I mean, I still think it's amazing.
It's still in
so
my
it's
top
like,
100, yeah, because he's a fetching.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me hold on. Let's refer back to that
Wait,
top
Mr.
100
River.
because
He didn't do
that's
Mr. River.
been on my mind this whole time. You mentioned you had a 100 list. Do you actually have a list written down somewhere of your top 100 movies? And is that
I
list
do.
dynamic? Do you? Oh my!
Yeah.
You got too much of Jordan
Nick,
in
believe it
you.
or not,
Stop
all
it.
3 of us do.
Do
Yeah.
you really?
I do.
You guys are nerds. I don't even
To
have
be fair,
that.
though, I haven't completed my list yet, but I am making.
I don't
it
even
now,
have a
Yeah,
list
so.
of 5. I just
my list
keep
gets
them in my
adjusted.
head.
My list gets adjusted on the
So you guys just
the
keep
weekly.
dynamic top 100 movie lists.
Yeah, I just
shifting all the time.
recently knocked
You have too
off.
much time on your hands. Don't you have kid? Don't you have a kid? Don't you have
I
like
have-
2
I have
kids,
2
Ty?
kids,
You got
yes.
time for a dynamic 100 movie list? What's going on here? I don't have any kids. I don't have time for that.
Dude, when I watch a movie, I'll look at the list and be like, is the movie I'm watching right now going on this list? Yes or no?
I kind of want to start my own list now, and I got to rewatch everything all over again. I'm just going
Well,
to
Nick,
dedicate
you
the
can
next
even
10
do
years
it
of my life
really
to this.
easily on IMDb. You can like rank your lists there, and you can have like the movie poster and
Yeah,
everything.
but I
It's
don't
kinda nice.
remember all the movies, guys.
Well, no, that's the nice thing. As you think of them, you're like, oh, I really love this movie. This is like a quintessential movie that, yeah. And then you just rank it on and just throw it in the top 100, and then you can like mess around
I'm
with them
so
later. You know?
indecisive. I could never make it happen. I'm like, do I really want to put this
I
at
agree
number
with you.
1 or is this number 2?
I know, someone's gonna judge me.
Number 48 and 49. I'm a little hesitant on those too. You know,
Yeah, someone comes by and it's like, wait, that's your favorite
This
movie?
would
You're like,
drive me
well,
mad.
no.
this would drive me.
That's your fetching favorite movie? What a loser.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry, Nick. I get anxiety about that too because we all say our top 10 movies like ever. And I feel so much trepidation about like announcing to the world like what I think are my top 10 favorite movies of all time. And
well,
now
my
I'm even,
top
like,
10
I think
Ty
they've
has already
changed.
changed. Mine has already
Really?
changed. yeah.
Mine,
I wanna-
Really?
mine
Wait,
will never.
Yeah, what's changed, Jordan, real quick? I have to know what movie broke into the top 10 that wasn't there before.
I'd have to
Look
check
up
it.
that. Yeah. I would say that I think No Country for Old Men, now that we've just rewatched it, we're going to be reviewing it on the pod.
That's your number
I
one?
think it definitely, it's one of the top 10 now. I think it kicks out one of my top 10.
What's your
that I
number
had
1? What's the
originally.
number 1 on all of your guys' lists?
I
Zodiac.
initially said Dark Knight. I said the
No,
Dark
mine's
Knight.
Blade Runner.
Jordan's Blade Runner.
Wow.
Yeah.
Manhunter made my list, Ty, and Drive.
I can't wait to see your list, Jordan.
Manhunter. I don't think I've seen that one.
It's so good.
I can't wait to see.
Manhunter.
I can't wait to see this list. Can you guys all bring
We'll
your
do it in
lists
October.
to the wedding, please? Because I want to.
Yeah.
Mine's
yeah,
on
there's an app.
IMDb. Well, also, yeah, IMDb. I
Tim's
can
is
just
on
share with
IMDb.
you my list.
Love it, dude.
You
And you'll
guys
get
are
recommendations for us,
nerds.
Nick, all day.
Like-
All good movies, dude.
I want to see these lists. I'm gonna hope that, and I'm sure I'm gonna find some of that list, and I'm like, okay, I see why you like this, but that's artistic. I don't want that. Boom, that's out. I don't like
Artistic, or did you say autistic?
No, not autistic. That's terrible. Come on.
Artistic.
Only the.
That's
But now you
Cameron's
remind me of
language. Yeah, what was
Peanut Butter Falcon, which is an absolutely amazing movie. Oh my,
Great
what a
movie.
great movie.
I know. I'm so glad you watched
I
it, Nick.
did.
I'm glad you
My
liked
mom
it too.
watched it first, and she was like, I just remember I was over just having dinner, and she just kept laughing her butt off. I'm like, what are you watching? It was Peanut Butter Falcon. I'm like, oh, I watch
so
it. And then I fell in love with it too. But
Yeah, very sweet film.
I
Just
watched
a
it
sweet,
three
sweet film.
times because that's how funny it was.
Yeah, right.
I know it would make your top 100 though, Nick. Die Hard. Oh yeah.
Die Hard would be in my top 5 for sure.
There you go, dude. See, it's not that hard to make
You're
a
right.
list.
Now I
See?
kind of
Now
want to.
you're
No,
like,
you're gonna suck
See,
me
you
into the
just start
nerd world.
chasing
Let's do this.
Yeah, Nick, next time you're on the pod, I
can't
expect
do
a list
this.
compiled of your top 10, all right?
Okay.
You just
Well,
be
that
like,
will be
these are
soon. That'll
movies
be
that you
next
love.
week.
Absolutely.
Or not next week. The week after, because I'm going to Utah next week.
Oh, you're headed out to Utah.
Yeah, on the
Wait,
22nd.
is the wedding happening already?
That's
It's
the week
2 weeks
after,
away, though.
so I'm going a little early.
Oh, fun, dude. You're going to be
I
chilling
already
in
told you
Utah.
this, but you must have forgot. It's all good.
I did. Well, I know. I didn't realize you're going for a whole week. I knew you were going to go out and visit Utah, but I'm blown away that it's only like 2 weeks away.
Well, I'm
Jordan,
going
you're
out.
getting married.
Yes, dude, it's gonna be so fun, man. We still have to. We still
married.
haven't planned the bachelor party. We still haven't
Yeah, we
planned
gotta
the
plan the
bachelor.
bachelor party,
Yeah,
Nick.
we'll do that at church on Sunday. That will be.
It might just have to be a movie, though, right? We're just going to have to take Jordan to a movie. That's
Yes,
like
please.
what we
movie.
do.
All right.
That's what Jordan wants.
We're not.
And then
cut
and then
this
we'll
out
do
on the
something
pod
else.
because I don't want anybody to know how much of losers we are if we're taking him to a movie for his bachelor party. I'm kidding. Whatever you want to do, Jordan. Whatever makes you happy, man.
I proposed on my podcast of talking about movies.
You did. And so that's
true, dude.
Is
Yeah,
there like
yeah.
a really cool movie theater we can go to then in like, California, one that maybe has or something?
I know, dude.
I'm just kidding. Sister Mickle, I'm kidding.
Sister Mickle's listening. No, it's so funny, dude. I love the idea that like so I already told you about Grant. We're like, Grant, what do you want to do for your bachelor party? He's like, I don't know, we could all just get together and play like Monopoly or like board games or something like that. And we're like, that is the saddest thing I've heard all week.
Just be sure, Jordan, that you don't post this before your wedding. Only after. The whole thing might get me in trouble, so. I don't want that coming back at me. I heard you said on the pod. Oh no. Oh no.
That Nick has a bad influence.
I know. Just cut that out.
No, but I mean, it can be on record. Every time that I've been at like the most spiritual, like the best moments in my life were when I was living with Nick. It's funny. So, and then
There you go, Nick. You're a good person.
I have that
Nick.
spiritual
You
aura,
like to
man. My
inspire.
spirit be strong. My spirit strong with you, bro.
Love you, Nick.
Yeah.
It's all those natural remedies you have.
Yeah.
that-
Yes. The natural remedies. Thank you.
it's of the earth, man. You're
It
connected.
is. I actually was just having a conversation about that. I was like, listen,
Yeah.
man, if you look at it as a gift from God, then that's what it is.
We love you, Nick.
All
Hey, Nick, we end every podcast by sharing things that we've seen lately, movies that we're looking forward to. Do you want to share what you've seen lately?
I can't think of anything worth mentioning that I've seen recently. I've just been cycling through, TV shows, been busy.
Nick, have you seen the new Suicide Squad?
I have not. I don't even think I've seen the first Suicide Squad.
Don't. Just watch the Suicide Squad that just came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not
Watch the
connected?
new one. No.
So they were like, the first one sucked so bad we had to go back and remake it. This is what we
Yeah,
really wanted it
exactly.
to be.
Yes. It's
Wow,
exactly
has that ever
what it
been done
is.
before?
Honestly,
someone
with
really
the same
remake that?
title, the fact that they just called it I am surprised. I almost was like, why didn't they
Justice
try to-
League. Justice League was the first ones that did it, and it worked out with Zack Snyder. This
But that was just like two different cuts of the movie. It's
I
still
guess, yeah.
essentially the same movie. This is actually just a whole new movie.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's called like the Suicide Squad, and it's like characters of the first one, but
yeah, you would
it's
like
not
it.
at all.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I
it was
really think
fun.
it's going to be right up your alley, Nick. I think you're really going to like that one, so I highly recommend it.
All right, man, I'll watch it. All right, guys. Well, this was
It's
so
on
fun.
HBO Max. so
Wait, you got to do your plug
you
for
can
your
watch it there.
shoes.
Yeah, plug.
Oh, guys, check
Yeah,
us out
Nick.
on Oxit, AUXXIT. Check us out. Shoes galore. And
coming
I'm going to be
out.
wearing the
Excellent.
coolest shoes, man. I'm going to be coming there, guys. Don't worry. You're going to be with a swagger out here, so it's all good.
Sounds good. Everybody, this is Futro Hidden Movie Gems. Thanks for listening. Write us an email, futuremovies@gmail.com. Check us out on Spotify, Patreon, YouTube, Facebook, all the social media sites, Instagram. Check us out our clips. If you like them, like us, and leave us a positive review, 5 stars. And check us out, guys. This is Futuro Hidden Movie Gems. Signing out. Peace.
Peace.
They'd make me like a human pinata.
Bye.